Thanks for joining me this week on Noir Alley. I'm Eddie Muller. Today, a lesser-known film noir starring one of the genre's biggest stars, Robert Mitchum, and featuring the great Claude Rains. It's Where Danger Lives. And one of the nice bonuses of having a Robert Mitchum title is that I don't have to talk about it alone, because joining me is Chris Mitchum, the son of Robert Mitchum. Good to see you again, Chris.
Thank you. Nice to be back, Eddie.
So I want to talk about this film in the context of it being one of the last movies that your dad made at RKO.
1950, yeah.
And RKO is where he became a big star. But it wasn't really easy, because he was working there under the stewardship of Howard Hughes.
Right.
And I know they had an interesting relationship.
They did. I don't know if my dad liked Howard. I think he maybe tolerated him. But Howard absolutely loved my father. I was there when they flew the Spruce Goose.
Oh.
Yeah, Howard invited the whole family down, and we were there watching it to us little up and down in the bay. They did have a good relationship, but Howard, there was something about him that, I mean, when my father got out of jail from the dope bust, he immediately put him to work. He loaned him $50,000 to buy a house in Manville Canyon in West Los Angeles, and said, "We're still going with it, Bob."
Yeah. I mean, you can say a lot of things about Howard Hughes and his stewardship of RKO, but man, he stood up for your dad big time.
Yeah. And my dad thought his career was over.
Yeah.
Howard said, "Yeah."
But I heard him once refer to himself at the studio as, "I'm a tall dog on a short leash." And
well, Howard wasn't keen on loaning my father out to other studios. I mean, it was his guy, and he wanted to keep him.
In fact, the movie that we're showing today, Where Danger Lives, is really interesting to me, because it's basically a picture about a crazy femme fatale and this man who falls under her spell, and they're both trying to escape. Which is exactly the situation that both your dad and Faith Demergue, the actress in the movie, it's sort of what they were going through in real life.
Exactly. My father, well, let me put it this way. My father did escape from RKO.
Yes, he did. And it wasn't like it was a horrible experience there, because, you know, he made pictures with Jane Russell, and they became, you know, the best of friends. But this is, you know, kind of a, and I do want to, you mentioned the dope bust, and we have talked about this before, but I want to just bring it up again so people know what we're talking about, because this movie wasn't the first movie he made after that, but it was soon after. And amazingly, it was quite scandalous at the time, went to jail, served his time, but it actually helped his career.
Yeah.
Right? Why do you think that was?
Well, I remember my mother told me when she first met my father in Camden, Delaware, he was hoboing through, and his brother was actually living with relatives there and dating my mother at the time. And I think she was 13 or 14, and my dad was 16. And she immediately fell in love with my father and left my uncle. And everybody said, "Stay away from Robert. He's a bad boy. He's a bad seed. Stay away from him." And the more they told her to stay away from him, the more she was attracted to him. So I think there is that element in the female species that there is some attraction, some women, towards the bad boy. You know, that naughtiness. And
well, it still goes today, because I know a lot of women today who, you know,
make bad choices.
Well, no, they're just fanatically in love with your dad still.
Okay. That's not right. That part's
no, because I mean, he has that persona that still goes over with a younger generation today. But I have to say, in his movies, he's always the one making the bad choices. I mean, he falls for the bad girls.
Well, and that's kind of paralleled in his life. You know, he sort of did that in his own life too. He lived film noir.
So he's not acting, is what you're telling me. He's not acting in these roles. Yeah. So Howard Hughes was smart. He cast him in all these parts because he said, "This is typecasting." Okay. Well, how about if we watch this film?
I'm ready.
From 1950, directed by John Farrow and featuring his real-life wife, Maureen O'Sullivan, here is Where Danger Lives.